Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the F1 Journal podcast, episode number 8. And we are here to review the third round of as what has been as an exhausting triple header. It's that exhausting, I can't even get my words out. But we are here to talk about the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Me and Glenn are here. How are you, mate?
Yeah, very well, very well. It was, like you say, it's been strong on a couple of weeks, and yet we're the ones sat at home, whereas the drivers and the teams have to travel all over and pull out performances. So it just shows a testament to what they have to do. But excited to break down the details.
Absolutely. It has been, I think, for everybody involved in Formula One, it's been a long 3 weeks, especially with the early alarms, certainly for UK viewers for the Japanese Grand Prix. Then obviously having to adjust to normal time races again in Bahrain and Jeddah. But let's dissect what happened in the race then, considering that's what you're all here for. It was a busy race, I thought, quite eventful. A lot of stuff happening throughout the field, a lot of overtakes. I think actually this sort of narrative that Jeddah isn't a circuit for overtaking is a little bit of a false one. I think, to be honest, I generally think it's a great circuit. But it was Oscar Piastri who took his third win of the season, his second one in succession. Ahead of Max Verstappen, top two there. They did have a little bit of a friction there at the start of the race. And Charles Leclerc completed the podium for Ferrari. If you're wondering where Lando Norris was, obviously championship leader coming into this one, only fourth after that crash in Q3. So I guess the main thing to start is, what are your main takeaways from the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, Glenn, and what are your thoughts surrounding it?
It was a good race. Like you say, it's never been known for being a track that you can overtake on, but we saw glimpses of Max and Hamilton from years gone by, 2021, with Hamilton and Norris this time. The DRS games, braking to get the DRS on the next straight, and the sort of to and fro in between them. So it's things like that, real proper games where a driver can pull something like that out, and it makes it more exciting. Norris clearly didn't have a good race. He made up some great places, but it was a shame for him not to be on the podium and sort of close that gap a little bit further. But massive congratulations to Piastri, because that was a well fought race.
It was indeed, and it definitely didn't go without its controversies, as you say, the DRS games. But I guess the main controversial incident that nobody will be talking about, apart from everybody, because turn one, lap one, two championship contenders finally getting a little bit heated out on track. Verstappen and Piastri nearly coming together. Verstappen going off the road at turn two, following Piastri sending it down the inside, being brave, late on the brakes. The stewards did look at this one. It took them the entire safety car period following Gasly and Tsunoda's incident. And Verstappen was given a 5-second time penalty for leaving the track and gaining an advantage, which he did recover really well from. He picked up driver of the day as well. So credit to him where credit is due on that one. But I guess the main thing is, Glenn, where do you sit on the incident between Oscar Piastri and Max Verstappen?
I'm going to be a little bit controversial here, and I think I'm going to get a lot of comments coming my way, but I think it was racing incident. I don't think it's a first lap incident. We know that cars run off. Now, two things on this. I'm not a big football fan, but in football, you don't stop playing until the referee's blown whistle, right? So Verstappen was probably in the right position just to carry on until at least the team came over the radio and said, Max, best thing to do, drop back, switch places. We know there's a safety car coming. Yeah. So, yes, it was very, very quick. But I think for me, that was what it was. And re-watching the highlights again earlier on, Antonelli did the same thing. And that wasn't picked up. So why wasn't that picked up? This is not, FIA against Max or anything like that. But that was overlooked. And it was the same thing he was going round, I think, a Ferrari at the time when he sort of got run out of room. So there is nowhere else for you to go. What do? Slam on the brakes? You slow down that much, you're opening yourself up to the inside, everyone else is coming past you, or into the back of you. So for me, it's a first corner incident that maybe it should have just been left the way it was.
Very interesting. And that could have affected the outcome, of course, but we'll never know. I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting the fact you brought up Antonelli. I think, to my understanding of it, is that Antonelli went off the track, but I think he was shoved out by Charles.
Yep.
So I think if he was shoved out by Charles, he did actually end up dropping behind Charles. So maybe the rationale is that okay, Antonelli kind of did it too, but he gave the position back. He dropped him behind Charles and carried on the way it was, whereas Max did keep the position. I think, considering all incidents that happened that weekend in multiple different categories, I think it's hard to argue with it. I get what you're saying about the first lap incident, but I just personally feel that ultimately he wasn't ahead at the apex. So I know that, yes, Piastri could have left him a little bit more space, but at the same time, if he's ahead at the corner and Max emerges in front at the corner, if he doesn't give the place back, then that for me then is leaving the track and gaining an advantage. But yeah, it's a tricky one. I mean, there'll be a lot of split opinions on this. Ultimately, it's the most important opinion of the stewards and what they thought. But actually, the important question for us is, what do you guys think? There will be a poll on Spotify. Or do you listen to this podcast, or we'll try and find a way to do it on YouTube as well. You let us know what you think. Do you think it's a racing incident? Do you reckon it's Piastri's fault? Or do you reckon the stewards were correct in their decision-making and Max Verstappen was rightly awarded the penalty that he was given? As for the championship leader coming into the event, though, it was without a penalty, but I suppose the penalty that went Lando Norris's way was his own doing by a mistake, which can easily be done. In Q3, on his first flying lap, 10th place on the grid, he left himself a lot of work to do. And you must say, another difficult weekend for Lando Norris in the championship so far.
Yeah, definitely. And like I say, this is a track which is very, very punishing if you make a mistake. No matter how small the mistake was or is, it can have disastrous effects. And they had a lot of work to do that night to rebuild that car, and thankfully there wasn't any damage to the gearbox or anything like that, because then that would have just been even worse for him. But I think he salvaged it well. Starting 10th, finishing 4th, he did a good job there. The team did a good job for him as well. It's it is a shame to see him sort of slip him back now, because he's now 10 points behind his teammate, who is McLaren's number 2 driver. Excellent driver, though. Excellent driver, and it's gonna be fuel for the fire for him. He'll want to come back strong. Miami, I don't think has been especially kind to him in the past either. I think he had a DNF there the first time that he went there, and so hopefully his luck will turn round and keep us all talking about it.
Absolutely. I mean, to be fair, he may have some happy memories, obviously, at Miami from last year. That maiden victory that he picked
Mm.
up, and it's a tough one with Lando Norris because I feel like I don't want to sound too harsh, but I feel like he's thrown a lot of points away here in recent weeks. I think certainly in in Bahrain to an extent. I think that he was, that was nothing really to do with any mistakes individually. He just qualified poorly. He left himself extra work to do rather than tyres that were already going to be up against it anyway with the way the circuit is at Bahrain. At Jeddah, it was a mistake that cost him in terms of he couldn't set a lap time. And, when you look at the form that Piastri is on right now, I don't think there'd be anybody that's quite happier to see the back end of this triple header than Lando. I think that, especially where he came into it, the position he sat, how he viewed his championship hopes. Now he's got to sort of try and get a mindset shift, fight back, and come out on top next time in Miami, because I think if it's another weekend where Piastri comes out on top out of it, especially if he wins the race, 3 wins in a row for Piastri, Lando in 2 of the 3 at least would have finished outside of the top 2. So you look at that, you're at least creating a 10-point gap there for yourself.
Mm.
So it's a worry. Obviously, it's not game over. Far from it. It's a long way to go in this season, but I feel like that Lando has to be very, very careful how he goes about the rest of this season. But you never know. He could probably turn it around. As you say, Glenn, he made some good moves there. It took him third time lucky, though, to get past Lewis Hamilton. Um, he couldn't quite catch Charles Leclerc by the end, unfortunately, for him and my podium prediction. But it was a bit of a, a bit of a good recovery drive. But I guess he'll still be disappointed. But
Mm.
hey, it is what it is, and if he is going to be a champion, he's going to need to turn it around. As we move on, though, I think it's important to mention the other drivers in the top 10, because I think what a weekend as well, just quickly, Glenn, on Charles Leclerc, who you did predict to take victory. He did have a very good race, though. A lot better fortune than his teammate Lewis Hamilton did over the course of the weekend. Really good confidence boost, I think, there for Charles Leclerc.
Yeah, absolutely. And does it count that he was leading the race for a couple of laps, or can I claim that as a point?
Um, I think that's one that's going to have to be referred to the steward. So I'm going to do a bit of a Joe Bauer on you and refer you to the stewards for a technical.
But no, all jokes aside, yeah, it was a good turnaround from them. Bit more. It was again challenging for Hamilton, so they've still got a bit of work to do. But yeah, good news for Leclerc because he's just been a little bit too far back this year. We know that the Ferraris have been strong in recent years, and um, they massively got overtaken by um, McLaren last year, and we were hoping that they were going to be a lot closer to him. But he'll use that. He'll be better off because of it, knowing that they've broken that spell of no podiums, no wins, and all of that. So yeah, good news for him.
Absolutely. And you never know, a couple of upgrades here and there, although they didn't really work too well at Bahrain. Maybe Ferrari can drag themselves back into it. Of course, it's a longer season. As for the actual rest of the race result itself, outside the top 4, it was George Russell and Kimi Antonelli. Mercedes with a decent points haul there, 18 in total. They continue to be second in the championship. We'll talk about the championship standings at the end of the episode. Stay tuned for them. Lewis Hamilton in seventh. He was catching Antonelli towards the end, but just couldn't get close enough. Carlos Sainz and Alex Albon, 8th and 9th for Williams, a really good result for them. And Isaac Hadjar, another good drive from the Frenchman. Didn't really race here much last year, despite Formula 2 being here. A lot of mechanical issues for him that weekend. But on a weekend at Jeddah where, he didn't get out qualified by Liam Lawson. He was able to turn it around in the race. But we should talk about Williams. What a start to the season it has been for them. They have been in some fine form at the start of the season. They've got a really strong drive lineup, as I'm sure everybody knows. They sit 5th in the standings, which is best of the rest by 5 points over Haas, 15 points ahead of Aston Martin, 17 points ahead of Racing Bulls, and then they are 19 points ahead of Alpine and Sauber. So a really good start to the season for Williams. Just talk a bit more about it, Glenn, and what you've seen from them so far.
Yeah, no, it's really good. I mean, for both Albon and Sainz to be on the same team, it is an incredibly strong pairing, if not one of the strongest on the grid. Now they're both starting to, well, not Albon, but now that Sainz is now starting to get a bit of a grip of the car as well, despite his DNF on like the first race. It's good to see them coming up because they've long suffered as a team. They've long suffered being close to the back of the pack for quite some time. And it was only last week we were saying good for Haas that they're 5th in the championship, and now just one race later they've been overtaken by 5 points. So they need to definitely keep this momentum going because I don't want to be biased or anything like that, but having even though they're not a British sort of owned team anymore, it'd be lovely to see them fighting for the top again.
Absolutely, it would be very nice to see. They've really had a really rough few years, and have really seen the podium. I think since they had a car that was sort of competitive in 2017, and the last time on the podium was 2021. In that Belgian Grand Prix race with George Russell back in the day. So really good stuff from Williams. And who knows, maybe on the odd race this season, maybe one of those can find themselves on the podium. They've shown the pace, so you never quite know. Really, really good stuff from them. Maybe 2 contenders for driver of the weekend, which we probably should move on to in a minute. But I will just say fantastic stuff from Williams. As you say, Glenn, great driver lineup there. And, James Vowles is really turning that team around. They've got a good young driver set up as well, just in case one of the drivers wants to leave. They've got Victor Martins and Luke Browner as well waiting in the wings. So they've definitely got things going in the right direction at Williams, especially with those two who made it into our Driver of the Weekend poll, which only went up today as we're recording this, which is Tuesday. So we come to the Driver of the Weekend decision. Max Verstappen was voted for Driver of the Day. I'm going to let you go first, Glenn, because I'm going to find what the people are saying so far. So who is your Driver of the Weekend?
I'm going to go with Piastri. It's a safe bet, I know, but I think he drove a really strong race, and I wouldn't say he got flustered, but you could see the pressure sort of building up with some of the radio messages, knowing, there was the red light at the balcony at the end of one of the straights just before the pit, like the pit straight itself. And there was a few sort of sharp comments over the radio, not, having a go, but it was more like, what's this going on? He needs to focus, and that was clearly taking his focus away from the racing. And I think he put in an incredible performance, and I think while he deserves the championship lead, I think he deserves that as well.
Well, at the moment, Glenn, you are being agreed with by the majority
Oh,
of our
really?
voters so far. 56% of the vote so far has gone to Oscar Piastri. 73 of you have voted so far. So keep on voting, and you never know, when we get to our predictions for Miami, we might just read them out and see if these drivers can continue their good form. Um, I would go for Oscar Piastri, and I think that's probably a good option to go for. But I think the way he demonstrated in qualifying, his pace, and he's just sheer brilliance around a single lap. And also when you consider um, he finished within 3 seconds of Piastri despite the penalty. I'm going to go for Max Verstappen. I think he has once again shown he is not ready to loosen his grip on that World Championship trophy just yet, despite his team having problems off the track in terms of the car development and the car not being where he'd like it to be. He is still putting in performances. He still comes away out of this triple header with 2 podiums, a win. He's come out there with 2 pole positions, although they don't add anything to the championship point standings. It's been an absolutely flawless triple header, really, for Verstappen. He's got the most out of the car where he can. And although I do think he deserved the penalty, I think his driving this weekend has been outstanding. So I will go for Max Verstappen for driver of the weekend. But of course, you guys are free to have your say. So please do. We'll look forward to seeing how the poll develops over the course of the week. Okay, then. So we've touched on most things Formula One related. But before we round up and talk about the standings and say goodbye, we do want to talk about F1 Academy, because F1 Academy has had its second round of the season. A lot of action at Jeddah, a lot of great action as well. In race one, being pushed all the way to the line, and then Chloe Chambers trying to make the, sort of get down the road as quick as she could in the race two. And in the end, it is going to be a very positive weekend when she looks back on it for Maya Berg, who leads the championship. She won race two after um, after inheriting it from Chloe Chambers' 5-second penalty for forcing another driver off the circuit at turn 22. But before we talk about Verg, I think it's a quick word on Ella Lloyd, the Welsh driver who picked up her first win and McLaren's first of the weekend, and also in the history of the racing at Jeddah. It's the first driver to have taken victory at the Jeddah Corniche circuit. So what are your thoughts on Ella Lloyd getting her first win, Glenn?
Yeah, congratulations, massive congratulations, because she did drive a stellar race. I didn't see too much of it. I did catch sort of towards the end, and she was holding the lead comfortably. So yeah, phenomenal. Great to see Zach Brown there at the end to congratulate her when she was on the podium. Because yeah, this is what it's about. At the end of the day, it is showing their skill set to the people who are sort of sponsoring her, and phenomenal for her.
Absolutely. She drove a fantastic race, especially with the safety car
Mm.
in the middle of the race. That could have potentially thrown her, but she did very well indeed. And also, Maya Verk pushing her all the way to the line, less than 0.2 of a second, separating the pair as they crossed the finishing line. Alicia Palmosky with another podium in F1 Academy. She finished in third place, holding off Dorian Pan in fourth. Alba Larson, what a job she's doing at the moment, in fifth place. Absolutely incredible first round for her, and she's followed it up with 2 5th-place finishes this weekend. Just 16 years of old, Alba Larson is. What an incredible job she's doing. As for Maya Verg, though, Ferrari-backed MP Motorsport driver, Dutch driver with the Dutch team. It's been a theme of that this weekend in the Feeder Series Championships. But what an important win for her as she takes the championship lead away from her former teammate, Dorian Pan.
Yeah, and it was surprising because the bits that I did catch, I think, from the first race was Dorian Pan was on a charge, and forgive me if I'm wrong, she wasn't that far away from my Verg towards the end of the race, was she?
Um, I mean, to be honest with you, it's a bit of an awkward one to explain this one because in the second race it was sort of Chambers in the lead, Chambers having to get away as much as possible from the rest of the pack with a 5 second penalty.
Mm.
Race one, she was closer.
Yeah, that's what I
Because
mean.
the top four were all bunched up together going into the final lap, and you didn't really know who was
Yeah.
going to take the victory.
And you could
But
see how much um, the slipstream had on her. It was like she had DRS. I was shocked because she was, as far as what I saw, she was making some good ground up. Again, massive congratulations to Maya Vogue because it's not only has she just jumped ahead, she's significantly ahead now in the championship. I think where is she? She's 59 points ahead of Doreen Panel 52. So I mean that's it's still a chunk of points, but you'd rather have those sort of points going into the next rounds and take them away from your um, someone like Dorian Pan to make sure that you're going to succeed in the championship.
absolutely. And I think a great credit has to go to as well Chloe Chambers because I think her pace in race two was absolutely electric, especially towards the end. She was able to get down the road, build that 5 second gap on the last lap to Dorian Pan to make sure she finished in the top two. An incredible drive. And as you say, Glenn, 7 points the difference between what you'd argue coming into the season is the two championship favourites, two drivers last season who definitely shone at Prem and were very consistent and always consistent near the front of the field. Um, Chloe Chambers in third in the standings. She herself is just 12 points off the championship lead. And Alicia Palmowski, fantastic stuff from her so far in her first two full weekends in the championship. She's just 23 points off the championship lead. Alba Larson in fifth as well. Seriously impressive. 31 points off Ferg. And in her first four races, she's been very consistent, very there in the mix. Ella Lloyd in sixth, so watch out for her. It was a bit of a difficult weekend for Farah El Youssef, the wild card driver. Um, I suppose it's good to see these opportunities being given. Unfortunately for her, it just wasn't quite to be this weekend. And the team standings, there's just 3 points in it between Campos and MP Motorsport. Prema chasing the championship leads in the team standings in F2, F3, and F1 Academy. Not like them at all. And yeah, Rodin, ART, and High Tech, who are learning this championship, are just getting up to speed. I will just quickly gloss over Formula 2 this weekend because we do just have enough time for it here. What a weekend of Formula 2 action. It always produces at Jeddah. It always kicks off. A special mention, though, to Arvid Lindblad. He took victory for the first time in Formula 2. He is now the record holder for the youngest Formula 2 and Formula 3 race winner as he makes his stride up towards Formula One. Red Bull clearly think highly of this kid, Glenn, and he is showing why they are putting their faith in him so much.
Yeah, he's very talented, very talented. Again, I didn't see much of the Formula Two this weekend, but he has shown before his skill set. He's definitely one to watch. And like you say, Red Bull have backed him for some time, so it just goes to show that they expect quite a lot from him. And yeah, with all the ongoings in Formula One that we're seeing within the sister team and even the main tier team, you never know. One day he could potentially be amongst those rumours of coming into Formula One.
Absolutely. And you never quite know in this game. It certainly took Gabriel Bortoleto a little while to get his first win. And all of a sudden, bang, he's in your face. He has a fantastic race in Monza, and all of a sudden, he's the Formula 2 champion. Um, Great weekend for Jack Crawford. He was very, very unlucky not to come away with a feature race win. Some great strategy for Richard Verschoor. But as you say, Lindblad winning, Red Bull Junior team took a good result in the sprint race. A 1-2 for Campos. Both Red Bull Juniors, Lindblad ahead of Pepe Marti, Alex Dunn with a podium as well. But as for the feature race, Richard Verschoor experience paying off for the Flying Dutchman. VER is his abbreviation, but it was looking like it was going to be a sign of things to come. A Dutch win hat trick on Sunday. We had Verg and Verschoor who took the win ahead of Crawford and Martins, but it was a great drive from Richard Verschoor, who maximised his strategy and came out on top. But we are moving on. So, final thoughts from you, Glenn, before I head up the standings. Just after I read you the F2 standings quickly for anybody who's interested. Richard Verschoor leads the way. Now he's championship leader. The experience is taking its hold here. 53 points for Verschoor. He's 12 points clear of Pepe Marti. It was 5 points separating the top 5. Now it's 20. Just shows this championship's like a pinball machine. It just goes up and down all the time. You don't know what's going to happen next. And yeah, it is going to be a very interesting one. Leonardo Fornaroli came into the round. The championship lead is in third. Campos lead the way. So we come to the point, Glenn. Final thoughts from you after Jeddah. What are your main takeaways heading into the rest of the season?
Yeah, it's starting to get spicy now. It's very, very interesting to see. From what we were saying early on in the year about the rookies wanting to see highly of certain drivers, and we are seeing that, especially of Oliver Behrman, who's now again outperformed Esteban Ocon. So genuinely loving to see that. Not Ocon failing, but Behrman succeeding now. Just want to get him higher up in those points. But same thing to be said with Antonelli. He's really, really showing his all every race now. It's been a jam-packed weekend. We've got a break, but I can't wait for Miami now.
Neither can I. It'll be a sprint weekend.
Yes.
Next time out. So absolutely one to watch in Miami. That will be another different time because we love having races at different times in the first 6 races of the season because that's so kind of the powers that be to decide that. But let's run you through then the standings. So Oscar Piastri is your new championship leader. The first Australian to lead the World Championships is Mark Webber back in 2010. His manager would rather nobody else break the record for the first Aussie to lead the World Championship since him. As you correctly mentioned, Glenn, he is 10 points ahead of Lando Norris, just 12 points ahead of Max Verstappen. He's very much looming in the papaya mirrors as we head on into the next stages of the season. George Russell still in third place in the championship. Quite an incredible showing from him. He's 26 points, I believe, behind Oscar Piastri. So you never quite know if he can fight his way into contention. Leclerc is in the top 5. He's just ahead of Antonelli. He's just ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Alex Albon, best of the rest, with 20 points already to be named so far this season from the first 5 rounds. And, well, McLaren, they just had to be in the championship lead, didn't they? They are absolutely on fire at the moment. 77 points in the championship lead ahead of Mercedes, who are second. Red Bull in third, who are almost 100 points behind, which is quite incredible after 5 races. Ferrari are closer to Williams in 5th than they are to McLaren in the championship lead. Haas in 6th, Aston Martin 7th, Racing Bull 8th, Alpine 9th, and Kick Sauber in 10th position. But that is all for this episode of the F1 Journal podcast. We hope you have enjoyed it. We will be back in a week's time to preview the Miami Grand Prix. If there's anything special before then, we might be back, depending on the news that breaks, because you know what Formula One can turn into. But once again, thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe on YouTube or give us a follow on Spotify on all our social medias. But from me and Glenn, it is goodbye.